to go to
Happy Friday, folks.
Rock and Roll Friday.
Rock
There
and
you,
Roll Friday.
there you go. Good morning, everyone. I think my glasses are like all this. Anyway, oh my God, you know what? You know tomorrow is my birthday, right?
Yes,
My
Gigi, I
B-day.
can't believe
I
today.
can, yeah, I know. You
If
dropped
you
the ball.
guys are going to be around Forest Hills, Cobblestone Pub, stop by, show Gigi some love. I was supposed to be there, but I got invited to a retirement party in the Poconos, so I'm here.
Actually, it's a better deal. It's you got a better deal than I have. I think it's a
Yeah,
nice one to be in the
you should just
Poconos.
come over here. You should just
No,
come over
it's
here.
not the Poconos. You told me it's by the Delaware Gap,
That's
right?
where well, I mean, we're not that far from there, but that's where we went hiking. We went
Ah,
hiking there yesterday. Yeah, yeah. But we're like
beautiful,
20, 30 minutes away from there.
beautiful, beautiful. Let me
Yeah.
raise my table. I have this fancy table, the desk that I can raise. Here you go. All right. So today, Friday, nice day. Hopefully, it's not gonna rain. Is it gonna rain? Do they say it's gonna
It's
rain
gonna rain.
today?
It's gonna rain out here. Oh, I think after 9 p.m., 7, 8, 9.
Ah, then you're good. You're good. Let me see what they say here. It's gonna rain at same thing after 9 p.m. So we should be good. All right. Anyway, quick topic for today. Quick topic is:
Uh,
are you, as an
Something that I
agent,
think, something I think we don't pay attention to, right? We're
right?
not really thinking about, but in my opinion, I think it's very powerful because at the end of the day, how you communicate your message across and how well you listen can potentially affect the way you're going to either lock in a buyer or a seller. In this case, we're
I'm
talking
gonna
about
I'm
buyers, right?
gonna go further in, and this is the premises of today's show. And if I have a couple of people listening in, that would be great. It's not only this is how is what you say, how you say it, and how you present yourself. How does the public sees you as a person, and then how do you pick up on their cues, the verbal cues and non-verbal cues? Because sometimes you get somebody say, "Oh yeah, I like that,"
Yeah.
and
It's
it's
funny.
like
It's
their
funny.
head says no, and they say yes with words, and you're like, anyway. So and this would make you a much better agent, much
Yes.
better person. We already have a bad enough name in that in this industry. We always having that syndrome of the salesperson with the fast talker. So that
Yes.
would be my first advice to anyone when you speak to buyers and sellers or prospects, like slow down your speech.
Yeah. If you're someone who's constantly speeding on information, hey, look, that's cool and all, but like if you're talking to someone who maybe doesn't really kind of listen to the speed talker, it's kind of going to annoy somebody. So you have to be aware of that stuff. I know we spoke about it in the past, different personalities. You could even take the personality exams.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, I think, you know what else isn't mentioned, Gigi? Tonality.
No, exactly. Your tone of voice. There is something that has been studied over and over with psychology. So, and again,
Yes.
we have to be mindful of um, regional accents and foreign accents. Like if when I speak French,
Hmm.
French language has a lot of up and down. It's very, it's nice. It's pa 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 pa. It doesn't work in
It's
American
very
English.
creative.
When we're doing business in American English, it is better to have a more neutral tone of voice. I'm not saying it's flat, but you have less ups and downs. This establishes assertiveness and establishes you as the person of authority. So
Yeah.
I am very mindful, and for many years, to and you probably hear it when we speak casually, my voice is on a much higher range, and when I speak French, it's definitely much higher pitched. But in business, and like I'm speaking to you today, it's in the low tone, and I'm really mindful about just being even. Unless I'm gonna laugh out, bursting laughing out, and then it's all over, it's done. But in general, yeah, and you want to keep this because it's being portrayed in this language that if your voice goes up, it's going to show some sort of uncertainty, untrustworthiness, and stuff like that.
It feels unstable, right? Like
Yeah,
if you're walking on a solid ground and you're walking on a
yeah,
solid floor, you're gonna feel comfortable. But the minute things start feeling a little shaky, you don't feel comfortable anymore. So imagine that. Picture that in your tone. Picture that in the information that you're trying to
yeah.
put
Let's go
put
with the
across to the
example,
customer, the
like
client.
like somebody tells you, let me find an example of something that could happen. Like, or you're giving your, oh yeah, just stop. You're giving your admin so a little project to do, and then you go back a couple of days later and you said, like, oh, I didn't see that email with what I was asking you to do. Is it ready? And then the admin goes, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, sure, sure. I'm gonna get to it right now. No problem.
Too much high
Yeah,
pitch.
no, this one, and I'm sorry, I don't want to
Yeah.
put anyone on the
No,
spot.
no, I'm glad you brought it because look, this happened to me literally before we went live. I got a
Okay,
call. I got a call from realtor.com. Realtor said, "Hey, I know that you are," and this is how he was talking to me. "I know that you are working with the City program, but we have some other programs that I can help you with, and we wanted to know what your top three zip codes were. Like, what are the top three zip codes that you want to work in? Like, I think I'm good." And I told him straight up, "I'm good at I'm fine where I'm at. I'm getting a good supply of leads.
yeah,
I appreciate your time. Thank you." And he said,
yeah.
"Oh,
I mean, he
I
was
mean,
like,
he's like, are you getting enough leads like to the point where you're like giving them out or are you working on?" He's like, "Well, that's pretty good, if you're giving them out." So he literally just said something and then answered his own question. So
okay,
all
so
I
that,
said was, "Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, thanks." And then he didn't know what to say. There was like blankness, there was quietness for like a good
oh,
5
awkward.
seconds,
Oh my
and I
god,
just hung
yeah,
up,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
was giving him the benefit of the doubt because I understand we're in a similar industry. We have to speak to people to generate business. However, to your point, when you're dealing with sales trainings, for example, and you're trying to get information across, the worst thing you can do is try to bring a high pitch, right? The other thing that I want to throw out there that you shouldn't do, if you're asking for something, right? If you're asking like, "Hey, Jeej, you're planning on moving. I know you mentioned you're moving. Where are you going to?" You're asking something more direct. Don't be like, "Hey,
you're
Jeej,
talking
I
about
know you mentioned you're
asking
moving, but like,
open-ended questions, nothing that would yield a yes or a no. Like, you want to keep
yeah,
everything open.
yes, yes. However, there's another part to this because this happens. We tend to ask a question and then we answer it
We
instead
don't
of
shut
letting
up.
the person
I
answer it.
know.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
which was
So
gonna bring me, yeah.
it's almost like you're like, "Yeah, so like you were trying to sell because you were moving or,"
Or you remember,
and then we're
or is
hoping,
you moving because of changing zip code or schools and stuff. I
or
remember those agents giving a whole bunch of multiple choice answers to
yeah.
prospects, and you're like, what the hell is that person
That's
doing?
confusing. Like, so now this part is I've seen it happen. It's like, "Oh, so you mentioned you were trying to do this because, or, like, and you're hoping that they would answer it,
Yeah.
right?" I get it. That's our way of trying to put them or get them engaged into the conversation that we're having.
Okay.
However, I don't think that's very beneficial for either party. Why? You're just hoping they'd give you an answer. You need to be more direct. If you're asking them a
So
question, ask them the question.
I know, which is gonna bring me back to the genesis of communication, active listening, which is
Mhm.
really like paying attention. You could nod, You could repeat whatever is being said. You can show that you understand. Active listening. In real estate, we have this big ailment of trying to, we hear people, they talk, but all we want to do is reply back. We want to get in our next thought. We want to show them that we know everything. We don't really listen to them. We just want to talk back. We want to, we're waiting to speak our next, our next pitch. This is like horrible,
Yeah.
horrible, horrible, horrible.
Two things happens when you do that. First, you're not even paying attention to the information that they're
Right.
giving you. You could miss it. It could be something so brief. It could be something in the sense of,
Yeah.
yeah, man, like I honestly I hate the winners here, you know. It could be something so minimal that we can miss because we're so caught up or hooked on telling the client why we are the best, right? You can't do that. You know what they call that? That's called diarrhea of the mouth. The minute
Yeah.
you open your mouth and you're just yapping away. The other thing is, not only should you be active listening to the person you're talking to, but you should actively listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth because then you're going to realize in some cases, not only are you saying what you're saying, but now you're saying it two, three, four times and you literally spend 15 minutes saying the
Talking
same
crap. Yeah.
thing.
So, which leads me to another good, probably a tip. Like, we are in real estate, it's a very specific field of business, right? And we use a lot of real estate words, the jargon, and we tend to speak that same jargon with our buyers and sellers.
Yep,
And we throw stuff like DTI and the like prequel and pop, and all those words. And those the consumers are, and to me, I mean, we sound like idiots because the consumer doesn't necessarily know all those terms. They don't have to. Those are terms we're using every day, but we need to simplify our language,
100%.
speak in a manner where we don't have to give them the theory of everything, and we need to be concise.
Hmm.
Stop giving those lengthy explanations, even if it's about you. Stop giving them a whole like volumes of 500 page of your, here is my 257 point marketing. It's like,
No, God, you lost. The minute you said 257 points, no. Here's 257 points why you should choose me. Come on, come on. Roll me in. That's too much. That's too much.
so be simplify, be concise, straight to the point. Like, don't
Mhm.
go around and like talk about stuff that have nothing to do and come back and
Yeah, y-
and
you,
just
you're gonna
just
lose them.
mm,
You're gonna lose them. This happened. I remember taking some training courses, and this actually happens. If you haven't heard about this, it's hilarious. And if you're in sales, that's even funnier. But in sales, you can literally talk someone into the idea of doing something,
or
and if
losing
you
them.
over talk them, you're gonna talk them right out of the concept.
Exactly.
So you have to know how much information you're gonna
Right.
give
Right.
them, right?
Right.
If you're working a transaction, there's so many steps, right? Some people are like, hey, never done this before. Like, what are the steps? How many times have we gone through schooling, some type of training? If they vomited all the information right at the beginning, you would lose your mind. You would not be paying
I
attention.
know.
You
I
would be
mean, it's
clueless.
good to give an overall process of what's going to happen, but to me, I know, and this is where, like, and you have to be patient and you have to
Mhm.
understand this is super, and this is what agents don't do. Put yourself in the buyer or seller's shoes.
Yep,
Like, empathize a little bit. And yes, we as agents are going to have to repeat ourselves many times over,
correct.
and you don't have to throw it back in their self and in their face and say, we've been over this already. No, you're going to go back over the process, say, here we did this, now we're going to do this, and next week you're going to go back. So now we did this last week, like this week this is what's going to happen. Even though you send it in writing and everything, and yes, you did your job, but it's so stressful. They need to feel confident that you're there for them
Correct.
you know
I like to I like to kind of, there's a whole process that we go through, right, during the
Hmm.
transaction. I don't like to bombard them with it. As a matter of fact, I like to kind of the same way you said it, right? Put yourself in their shoes, right? There have been many times where I've tried to explain numbers to people over the phone and it does not work. It doesn't
No,
matter how hard I try. So, you know what I realized? Numbers are easier to see than to hear, right?
exactly.
So if
Yeah,
I'm breaking numbers down, I'm doing it in front of them. I'm showing
yeah,
them, hey,
yeah.
these are the numbers that we got to look for. I'm not coming up with this. This is what you are looking at, right? So when you're trying to explain numbers, you should not be talking about numbers over the phone. So what does that mean? When you're talking about DTI, right? What the requirements are income wise,
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
have to, what your finances have to be, all this other stuff,
Net
down
proceeds and
payment
all this, all
calculations.
yeah,
You need to have cash reserves after the
yeah,
purchase. How
yeah,
much?
yeah.
Listen, if you're gonna explain that, explain
Send
it
them
on
an email.
paper,
Yes, yeah,
or you do a Zoom meeting. Hey, look, I want to break these numbers down so that way it's easier for you to see and understand, right? If you're going through the process, hey, we just got an accepted offer. Oh, well, what are the next steps? Well, guess what? The contracts have to be given, they have to be signed, blah blah blah. That's how far I go. Hey, there's going to be more steps, but let's get the contract signed first. Once we have the contract signed,
yeah.
I'll guide you through the other steps. So that way, there's always a change. They're not flustered with the amount of steps that they have to do. Now it's like,
Right.
okay, cool. My agent's here to guide me through the whole process. They give me the idea, the heads up of what we're looking at next. Cool. Everything is moving in sync. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But if you're just
yeah.
gonna bombard them with all this information, you're gonna
I know.
lose them. So you have to
I
say it. Like I say it. Like I tell them straight up, hey, look, I want to break these numbers down for you, but I know I can't explain it and it's going to make zero sense over the phone.
sense at that
When
point.
can we
Yeah,
get on?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
see, and then here it is the assertiveness, right? When can we get on a call, on a Zoom call? All right, I'm available tomorrow or I'm available on Monday. What day works
Right.
best for you?
Yeah. I also wanted to point out a couple of things. Always stay super positive within this transaction. I'm not saying we're gonna go like, but always keep a positive mindset.
Yes.
Like throughout. I mean, sometimes when things are not, we've had things falling apart in front of us, and
Even when they're
still
falling apart, even when they're falling apart, you should
you
have an even stronger mindset.
exactly. Like stay positive. Do not panic them, especially with the process, like saying, or with anything. So, especially when you're going to deal with co ops and those applications, it is so overwhelming. And if you're going to go, oh my God, this liability and asset sheet that you gave me, it's not right. We need to go back over it. No, like to me, that part, I actually do it for them. I don't even let them handle it. It's like we'll review it, we'll go back over, we'll sit down. Nothing like it's always positive. Even if they messed up, you have another blank copy, you'll start
Right.
over. It's sometimes they have, they want to write those applications by hand and they have chicken scratch handwriting. You're like, damn, I'm gonna have to type up that thing. And it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
It is what it
Listen,
is.
communication is key, right? And if you relay this information over to them ahead of time, then it's a different story, right? Like you said, hey,
Yeah,
I always say it in the beginning. Listen, here's the application. We have to prepare it, put it together. I
yeah.
recommend you type it up because if you got chicken scratch handwriting and they can't read it, then it's only going
But
to make it
sometimes
look
it's
worse.
they think they have a great handwriting anyway.
Yeah.
And which is also like avoiding conflict. Like avoid conflict, especially when you're prospecting, you know. Like you don't have to be right. You don't have to be the best, you don't have to be the prettiest. You just like again keep the peace on everything. You're talking to an expired seller, that those people are tight. They've had an agent that did not sell their house, that thing stayed on the market 6 months, nothing happened for whatever reason. Could have been their fault or not, we don't know. Do not enter into a little like power trip with anyone. Same thing with for sale by owners. They think they can do the job on their own. Don't conflict with anyone. Like go easy. Like again, be empathetic. Like understand them. Like try to be in their shoes. There is no need for a struggle. I'm hearing some of
Right.
those prospecting calls, and I want to pull my hair out. I'm like, why are you fighting? You're already losing. This person is never gonna want to talk to you ever.
Yeah. There's nothing to justify, right?
Right.
It's like the saying, the customer is always right.
It is. It is.
The truth to that is no, they're not. We know that. We get it, right?
Of
But
course.
there's nothing that we can do to make them change that. Why? Because at the end of the day, we're dealing with people,
People.
and people only care about themselves and how they feel. So if someone did something wrong to them, you best believe, if you so much as associate to the same class as that individual, you will also get the end of the stick. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's why we get treated that way. But again,
Yeah.
don't take it personal. Understand, listen to them, hear them out, right? Make sure you're taking in that information. Don't get diarrhea of the mouth and tell them why you're better than the last agent that they had. No,
Yeah.
forget that. Ask them why. Ask them where they feel the agent dropped the ball. You get me? And then wait for them to respond.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to ask those
And don't
kind
be
of
flustered
questions.
if you're gonna hear stuff back like, "Oh, you guys are all the same." In a way, I do understand what you're saying. Yeah, it may seem this way sometimes. You sure?
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we
What
are.
ma-
Yes, we
what
are.
makes you think
Yes.
we're all the same,
I know, but
right?
again, it may seem this way. That's what it looks like. Totally agree with that seller. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
right? You could even shock them. All you agents are the same.
Yeah.
Have you and I ever worked together? No, but you're all the same. Okay, so then if you and I never worked together, then you can't say that we're the same. But let me ask you, what about that agent makes you feel so angry? That's
Yeah.
it. Why are you so, what did that agent do to make you feel so mad
Yeah.
besides not selling your home?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, one big pet peeve that I have, and unfortunately, again, I don't think we're not being taught as agents because we're not having. It only takes 77 hours right now to get this license, and there is no. We're not being taught business acumen. We're not being taught a whole bunch of stuff
You're not being taught
like
negotiations. You're not being taught
negotiations, like
relationship building. You're not being
business
taught
behavior. So
how
many
to
things
talk
we're
to
not.
people. None of that stuff. It's 72 hours of straight
Seventy-seven,
book.
77 nowadays.
77,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
It's been a while. It's been 6
yeah.
years since I took it.
And then you know what? Like be responsive when somebody. So I something irks me when you send a text, you leave a message to an agent, you send an email. 3 days later, you still don't have an answer. Like be responsive. Text should be within the hour. And if you can't do it, send a text back telling you I'm going to be tied up for a little bit. I'll be able to respond to you around this time. Email within the next 24 hours, this should be answered. Okay. And voicemail, same thing. Like that's a voicemail. You can still listen to it, and again could be replied by a text. I got your voicemail. Like okay, acknowledge receipt of things, acknowledge receipt of emails.
Hmm.
Acknowledge if you can't answer the phone, if you cannot communicate, just say it, but just don't stay blank, because as a manager, the
Yeah,
biggest complaint I have from buyers and sellers, lack of communication, lack of
it's always
responsiveness.
that.
I I want
It
to
always comes
cancel.
down
I
to
want to
that.
cancel the listing agreement because I haven't heard from your agent. And trust me, sometimes I will say, "Oh yeah, let's cancel this shit." I don't even because the agent should have done a better job at communicating with you.
Correct.
Sometimes, yes, it's a tough market in some pockets. We know that. If there is nothing to discuss, nothing happening, nothing new, say it. We have no showings. This is what's going on. The rates are a little bit this. In the meantime, this is what I try to do with our marketing. I'm switching around the photos. We're good in price. We can go any lower. The board won't take it. Whatever. I'm gonna go over my whole marketing
Yep.
strategy. See if I could change some stuff. That's what you
Sure.
should be communicating. Hopeful, positive things, even if nothing happened
Yeah.
that week. Like this week. What happened this week? It was kind of a blah week, right? So that irks me. Really, really, really irks
Yeah.
me.
I mean, look, it's again, Father's Day is coming up, so a lot of look, everything comes into play, but like you said, Jeej, communicate that information across. People don't like to get left in the wind. They want to know what's going on. They hired you for that purpose. It's a small
Yeah.
step.
Yeah, and be mindful about how you present yourself. Don't have, like some small stuff, talking to people with your hands crossed like they're thinking you're an authority. No, this is just gonna put up a wall. Make sure, even look down, look how you position your legs. Everything has a meaning, and even if people don't conscientiously see what you're doing, they're gonna still pick up on it. There are stuff that are just, you emanate a certain aura,
Right.
a certain vibration about you where it's not positive. So be open, stand tall, keep some respectable distance. Like we were talking earlier before the show, like there's a couple of agents in this business that are like this. When they talk to you, they're like in your face. You're like, oh
Mhm.
my god, I don't want to smell your breath. Sorry, I don't want to have, like, you know what I mean. I'm like, no, 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 I don't want to know that. Like, and be respectful of other cultures. In some cultures, you you feel like the person might not be interested because their gaze is down. It doesn't mean that. So, like, be more
Correct.
mindful. You should be keeping an eye contact, but not staring either, not being intrusive either. But make sure, like, people, no shifty stuff. I'm gonna give you an
Listen,
example of
I stare right into their souls when I ask questions.
all right, deep down, right? I know.
I open my eyes and I look at them dead in the eyes and I'm like,
I know, like,
"Are you sure
look
about
at
that?
the eyeballs.
Are you sure about that?"
And, no, but it's and then the I had a conversation with a newer agent. I put him on the spot about his prospecting, and he was
Bam.
not able to conclude some appointments. And my simple question was, "Are you sure you pre-qualified your prospect 100%? Did you go through all the questions?" And I'm like, and I'm looking at him, and then his eyes are shifting to the side, and he goes, "Yes, I think so." And it sounded like so, and I'm like, "No, you BSing me right now. You're full of it." I'm like, you did not. He goes, "No, you're right. I can't BS you. I just wanted the appointment." So I booked the appointment, and I'm like, "And then what? You didn't get the appointment because they canceled it on you because you just messed up. You just
Yeah.
you did not go through all the steps."
There
And
was no
but the way, and I'm
clarification.
like, "Don't BS." I saw the shifty eyes, and I'm like, as and I'm like, please do not do that in front of a prospect at all. That would be the death. That's it. That's the death of you when it comes to working with this prospect. Be straightforward. Don't BS anyone. People
Yep.
will catch up on it,
Yep. It's true.
you know. Anyway, I what else should we talk about? Yeah, your posture, how people see you. I
Yep.
tend to fidget a lot. I do know that. And but this is something I'm very mindful. It's like I know it could be distracting to people. Sometimes, like, if I feel bored or whatever, because I'm a little bit on the spectrum of ADHD or whatever it is called, I tend to, I don't know if like, sometimes I click my pen like for nothing, and I know it could be annoying as hell. So
Yeah.
over the last couple of years, I'm really, really mindful of not fidgeting, which is really hard. But
You know they have these fidget cubes that it's a little square that you can hold in your hand
yeah,
and every side has like something different and it's
like
meant
tactile. Yeah, I know, but it still
yeah.
makes noise. It still makes noise. It
Yeah,
still
some
does.
of them do. Yeah, yeah, some of
I
them
know,
do. If
I
you have
know,
like
no,
a little
they do.
switch
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, again, it's still very it's distracting for
It is.
a buyer or seller when you're there, even though you should be able to contain yourself for half hour. I mean, come on, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it's not that difficult. I'm not clinically affected by that by that disorder, so it's okay. I just you have to be more mindful. Like
Yeah.
the people that are they talking and they touch their face, also that gives off a sign of somebody not you're not put together. Therefore, you're not assertive enough. Like if you're playing with your, it gives off a vibe of I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So put your hands to the side, fold
With no
them, whatever.
confidence.
Don't fold them like this. Just put them together. They're saying like this thing that people do, like shows like
Yeah.
you're powerful, whatever. Don't just put them to
There's
the
so many
side.
different, yeah, there's so many different things you can do. Um, like you said, don't cross your arms. I would say don't cross your arms unless the other person that you're talking to crosses their arms, because then you're just mirroring them. And at that point, now we're kind of like on the same channel, so to speak. Um,
Yes, sometimes it's yeah, but then again, I don't want to close it off. What I would do is like I would keep one arm down and just put one arm on the other, like something not as harsh as what the person has, because I also want to make sure they get that good vibe from me, where
yeah.
I'm still open. I don't want to close anything off.
Hmm.
So it depends. Again, being able to read those nonverbal cues is not always obvious, but you have to be aware of it.
Yeah.
So my advice is, guys, like brush up on those communication skills because they have different levels. The
Hmm.
auditory one, like even sometimes I've had people that I've touched. I'm not gonna. It sounds dirty, but it's not like like to conclude things, to seal off a deal. Sometimes just if it's allowable and you have enough of a bond with your prospect, just
Hmm.
touching their arm, it's like like this thing was just shift things, like like you're having a good laugh and stuff, and you can touch. I'm not saying do it, but there have been some those instances where by being able to touch the person respectfully, of course, it just created more of like a amicable bond and stuff like that, a little bit more complicity, which helped in probably moving forward with the transaction.
Hmm.
And try to read the cues as verbal, non-verbal, what you're hearing, what you don't hear, what you see, and how you project yourself.
Hmm.
That's it.
Do you also ask what their pronouns are or no?
When it's someone very ambiguous, yes. When I can, when yes, like if I see them, yes, yes,
It's,
yes. Is that
oh man. Huh? I
is,
was just curious, man. I haven't done it,
yes,
but
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, because but
you mentioned,
you see them coming. You know the people that are gonna want you to ask them what their pronouns are. We'll have a talk. Actually, what is this? Oh, my daughter is there. Edward Penafiel, that's appropriate. Okay, yes, but some people really want to make it a point that you should ask them what their pronouns are, and I pretty much have an idea. I'm not profiling or anything, but
I want,
you can see from the way they speak, from the conversation that is arising from the beginning, and you just want to make sure like you don't yeah, you're appropriate on this. That's all. No big deal. Ask, you'll know, and then let's move on with the thing.
fair enough.
You know, I know in this day and age things could be very confusing, but hey, it takes it takes everything, right? It takes any type of person to make that world go round.
Listen, two confused people make a right, apparently. So,
Look, to me, as long as your money is green, that's it.
hey, as long
That's
as your
it.
money's green, your credit's good, let's help you buy
Uh,
a house.
that's it. That's all I really care about, you know. And that money is in America. Yeah, it's green. It's in America. It's seasoned. You got the right credential. You know what you want to do.
That's it.
Buy or sell. You
That's
really
all
have
that
an
matters.
idea. You have a plan B. We're good. We're good. That's it.
Beautiful.
Simple. On this,
So,
enjoy
folks,
the Poconos. I see you're already in bed. What is this? Was this like late night and you're just
no,
waking up?
no, I was at the gym. I was at the gym earlier.
Oh, oh,
If I
you
step out of this room, there's just gonna be a bunch of loudness going
people.
on. So I figured, let me just stay here.
Yeah. All right. So
You know how
guys,
Spanish people
enjoy,
are. We like to
enjoy,
have a good time.
good. Enjoy this weekend. I hope you're having open houses scheduled. And yeah, I'm going to celebrate my birthday. Last year in my 50s. Something to ponder on,
It's
right?
okay, G.
I know, but you know what?
Listen, what?
I it's sort of this is like, I think this next 10 years is I don't know, you know, I'm seeing a lot of people. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't think of it too much. I never thought about birthdays, but this year for some reason it's, you know, it's I'm like,
You're
makes
thinking
me
about it.
wonder a little bit more. Yeah, but it's all right, I'll be
I
good.
think I think we should always wonder every birthday and always think about it because it's interesting how time flies.
Yeah,
And like you said the other day, you start to think about what's more important to you, and then you realize that all these things are nice, but nothing is nicer than the relationships you have with your friends and families. So,
yeah, 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 that's it. That's what I'm saying, you know,
Gigi,
they're
happy
really.
birthday to you.
Thank you. All right, let's go. Until
Happy
next
birthday.
week, we'll
Start the
have
party.
huh? Don't party too
Start the
hard.
party. It's party time. You got a
Yeah, I
party
mean,
music?
now I have to jump in another Zoom in a few minutes. Now it's going to be the admin Zoom. It's like, okay. Anyway, all right, guys, have a great
Well,
weekend. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Kika, for your support. That's my youngest. I think she has
thank you,
more freedom
Kika.
at work, so she can jump in. But yeah, all right, guys,
Cool.
enjoy the weekend. Enjoy that great
All right,
weekend of
buddy.
yours. I want to hear some more about it.
Yeah. And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Oh, it's Father's Day. Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
Sunday.
Okay.
All right,
guys.
peeps. Enjoy your weekend.
Peace. Thank you.
Take care.